Hello, welcome back to Anemones. I'm just going to go through, remember this painting I did, that was the last video. I did it in quick times, it was just like a warm-up one really. I often do that, I often paint a quick painting just to loosen myself up before I go and do another one. So I'm going to do one similar to this, it'll be quite a quick one, and then I'm going to go and do a more detailed one. But the only anemones I've managed to get are these two. There's two, and they're pink ones. I don't know if you can see them there. Then they're a bit, I mean, even though they're a bit past it actually, but I can't find any anywhere. And I wanted to get some white ones. These white, I think they're ranchulas or something they're called, came with them, but I wanted some white anemones because I wanted to paint a white flower, because I think that's quite an interesting subject to do. So I'm going to, for the next painting, after our quick warm-up one, I'm going to paint some white anemones. So if you can find some, good luck, and use those. But I've got a very small picture that I've pulled out from a magazine that I will be using. And I'm sure there's some pictures of white anemones on the internet as well, and I have painted them before, so I sort of got an idea of what I'm going to do in my head. So anyway, I'm just going to go through a quick one with the bright purples and pink anemones, which are really pretty, and I'm going to be using these magic colours because I like the way the ink flows and you get a really nice effect with it. So this will be, as I said, a quick painting, and then we'll do the white anemones in more detail. So let me get on with it. Okay, this is going to be slightly different to what I normally do. It's just going to be a very loose and a very free way of painting, and it's just quite it's quite representational. It's quite representational of a flower rather than actually looking exactly like one. So it's just giving the feel and the colour mainly that you find with anemones. So let's go and let's see. This should be good fun. I hope you can see this. I'm trying to do it a bit closer up for you so you can see it. And I'm also going to try and get my mixing palette in as well, so you can see the consistency to how I mix up the paint. So I'm sitting at a funny angle, excuse my squeaky chair. Let me just tidy up a bit. Always very organised, aren't I? Now I've got some tissue. Ooh. Tissue, paper towel. Right, now when I've stopped blathering and sorted out my paint. These flowers, the anemones, they come in lovely vibrant pinks and purples, so I'm going to try and do pink and purple ones, and I'm going to start off just by it's a funny angle now. I'm going to start off very simply. I'm not drawing on the paper because this is quite a free. It's going to be very quick as well, so keep watch. I'm just going to drop quite a bit of water onto the page in the central area, but I'm keeping. I don't know if you can see the water. Maybe if I make the water a bit dirty, you'll be able to see. Probably won't have a good effect. You can see, I'm just making, I suppose they're blobs really. And I'm going to do 3 blobs in this sort of area. And there's vaguely 3 blobs there, and a little bits coming out which are going to be the leaves. the greenery. So I'm just going to do a central one here. Now I'm going to start off by using the quinacridone magenta. And I hope you can see this amount I squeeze. There's some already there, but I squeeze out quite a big blob. It's quite, you know, I get through my paint very quickly, but I hope you can see how, I'll put my finger next to it so you can see quite how, it's quite a big blob. And then, let me turn that round. Can you see it? Sorry, I'm going to keep sticking my head in this. I may just go around the other way and you can see it. Then I put in a bit of water, and you see how it picks up the other colours as well. I'm quite happy with it. But see how thick I mix the paint. It's not really watery, it's quite syrupy, I suppose you'd call it. I can't think of another word for the viscosity. I can't think of another word really to describe the thickness. But it's syrupy. I mean, it doesn't fall off my brush that quickly. When I pick it up, it just drops slowly. So it's got quite a lot of pigment in it. Then all I'm going to do is paint. Like, there's one petal, and I'll do another petal there. Another petal, and you'll be surprised it doesn't all bloom out because it's quite thick. Whether it's the paper I'm using, I'm not sure, but I've basically drawn a few petals there. Then I'm going to do a purpley one there, so I'm going to mix the indanthrene blue and a bit of the magenta with it. And just make a shape of the flower. Then what I do is I come back in with clean water and I drop it in it, and then the paint starts to flow where I put the water. I hope you can see that. And then that will then drop in more water. Then I'm going to come in with these lovely magic colours. Now this one is, what colour is it? Oh, processed cyan. And I'm just going to blop some in. See how beautiful that goes. And I'm just painting with the end of the dropper basically. And I'm going to do the same with the magenta. Still making the petal shapes. Then on this one I'm going to come in with a deep violet one, and I'm going to make the dark, these bits, that bit around the outside, the got what they're called, stamens I think. And just let the paint, the ink, do what it wants to do. And you can even coax it to go a different way if you want, like that, and you get lovely backwashes. Now I'm not worried about these spilly bits really. Then I'm just going to come in and blot some areas just to pick out the light and like the centre of the flower. You see, quite a lot of the paint does come back off, so don't worry about that. But it gives a nice papery feel to the petals, which is quite nice. And then after I've blotted, I'm just going to come in with this is my Derwent I can't speak today. My Derwent Ink Tense pencil. This is fuchsia, and I'm just going to drag. I'm I'm just going to drag the paint, and it draws ever so slightly just to make some petal shapes so you don't lose the whole feeling that it's a flower. So that one. And then I'm going to use a, this one's to hand, my very short blue aquatone pencil, just to get some direction. And then I'm going to come in with my black, and then I'm going to come in with my black ink tense pencil, and just draw little, what do you call them, stamen things. Excuse my telephone. Need to sharpen it just so I can come in with sandpaper. I'm just doing it round the centre, but it's going to pick up on the places where it's wet as well, but I like that. And I'm going to do the same over this one as well, but not as many because the main focus is on this flower here. And again, remember, it doesn't have to look exactly, I mean, does that look like that flower? No, it's just a representational idea really of it. Then I'm going to use some green gold, and the green gold, hope you can see, it was already in the palette, so I'm just adding some water. I mean, it's quite a thick consistency, and it's also picking up colour that's pulled into the middle, so it's not pure green gold. So I don't know, I suppose that's how I get the subtle colours and things and get them to merge, because I don't use the dilute colour really. Now I'm just going to suggest these lovely this really dead one. I'm just going to suggest these lovely frilly leaves that you get within anemones, just round here and there, just to balance out the composition really. I mean, I'm not even, what do you call it? I really can't talk today. I'm not even copying them. I'm just like thinking, oh, they're frilly flowers, so I just paint them like that. So I'm not worrying too much about what they look like. And whilst that's wet, I shall drop in some. I've got a darker, because it's sap green, but I'm just, because I can't be bothered to fiddle about and find it, I've got it in my emergency colours here, which is sap green, is this one just there. And it's quite thick. I mean, it's not dripping off my brush, it's holding. And I'm just going to drop that in, just to some bit of shadow there. underneath. Then I'm going to blot. Then I will come in with a green. This is just one of those really cheap watercolour pencils, and then just suggest, drag the paint suggest some movement there. Then I'm going to I want to do the centre of these flowers. I mean, it's quite a dark centre, but I'm just going to blot out some of the colour. And this is mainly to dry, because I don't want it to all bleed off into the next flower. And I will, for this, just use my smaller brush for a change, my number 10. Well, no, it's not, it's a number 8 actually. And I'm going to use whatever colour I have in the middle of my palette, and a bit of Indeterine blue, so don't ask me what colour that is, but it makes a nice dark muddy colour. Then I'm going to use my Inktense pencil, and actually looking at this, I don't know how close of it focus, but you can see the stamens are purple, and then they have like black ends on them. So I'm going to try and see if I can represent that. And it's got my cheap red, or it's dark red watercolour pencil, and I'm just going to drag. No, it's not going to work. Nice it is. Drag the colour. Oh, that's quite pretty. And the same in here as well. And it's scratching away some of the ink as well, so you get some lighter areas, which is nice. Do that here as well. It's not working on this one. And just a little highlight in the middle of those. And just blot out. Well, I hope they look like anemones. I mean, I think I've caught the colour and the vibrance of them. And I'm not quite sure what colour to do with the background, but I'm going to let it dry completely. And I hope you can see how quickly that was. It was a very quick process. So get practicing, get those inks out, squirt them all in, then you end up with these lovely, oh, I don't want to run everywhere, but we'll get a bit closer. Can you see here the way it's all gone lovely and grainy? And as it dries, more cauliflowers and splashbacks will appear. So I might just drop in a little bit of water as it's drying. It's supposed to be clean water, that was a bit dirty. just to accentuate the cauliflowering. It's better.
The summer air was heavy and sweet. You and I on a crowded street. There was music everywhere. I can see us there in a happy little foreign town.